Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Effortlessly Abundant Life. I'm your host, Natalia, and I am a mindset shifter and subconscious expert that helps you to attract whatever that is that you want. If it's the voice, if it's the relationship, if it's the abundance, if it's the money, or anything you want in your life in 12 weeks or less. So, today we're going to talk about how to honor our natural cycles and how to still attract abundance and still be a match to whatever that is that you want. Okay. So, let's do the intro and come back. Welcome to the Effortlessly Abundant Life podcast, where we will dive into the mindset, spirituality, and practical tools to have more of what you want with less effort. I'm your host, Natalia, a mindset shifter, certified life and success coach, and hypnotherapist who is obsessed with making your life feel good from the inside out. So let's dive in today's episode in 3, 2, 1. So as you can see, I look a little festive today, and I gotta tell you, this holiday season is brutal for me. I literally have every single night some kind of a networking event, party, holiday party, some kind of a gathering, and I'm exhausted. I'm not gonna lie. And tonight I also have another one. I have a gala that I kind of needed to glam up for. So I decided, you know what? Let me make the most out of this. And since I look like a human, let me film myself for YouTube. And for those listening on the podcast version, you can feel the vibe. You can feel the vibe. So I hope you guys are enjoying this holiday season. But the reason why I decided to show up and talk about this topic, especially right now, is because actually this past week, I kind of felt burned out. And I'm going to explain to you why. And how did I shift it and honored my cycle and where I am and which stage I am in my cycle, and how I still attracted the money and the abundance and actually feeling good while going through this. Okay. So, for those who don't know, women and men's cycles are different. Okay. So for women, we have a 28 days of cycle. That is the average. Of course, it's not 100%, but still, our cycle is spread out through entire month. For men, their cycle is 24 hours. Isn't it crazy? So their cycle is based on the testosterone, which is the highest during the morning time, and it goes lower as they go through their day. So they actually build to work every single day, endure more stress, endure more of labor, right? Doing more every single day and perform at the same type of energy. Whereas women, we have our superpower that we're not utilizing enough, in my opinion. And that's why, as somebody who was an ex-hustler, A-type, very in their masculine energy, now that I'm more in my feminine energy, I really can tell the difference. And I've been taught a lie since I was born, being Russian, and also grew up in Israel, where it was just a lot of hustling, a lot of survival mindset around me growing up in this type of field. And then after all of this growing up in Israel, I moved to the United States when I was 21. And I don't need to tell you, New York is the hustling capital, right? You come here and you just sucked into this 24-hour, no rest, and it's just too much, too much. And I got to a point where I just completely burned myself out. If it was through my singing career, teaching career, then sales career, as you know, I'm a multi-passionate. But now that I'm a mom, now that I am dropping into more ease, more flow, more effortless kind of living, that is something that I had to drop into more my feminine and honor my natural cycles. And that's what I want to share with you guys. So the first thing I really recommend for you that I did that helped me a lot is, first of all, get out of your birth control pills. Okay. And I've been on birth control since I was 16 because I had a very bad acne. Okay. Like bad. And my mom she still has like acne scars. And that is something that I was terrified of having because I'm a singer, a performer. I just didn't want it on my skin. And I remember like I was willing to do anything and anything to get rid of this. So I went to a doctor and they prescribed me this specific birth control that was typically one of the strongest one, and it did help me with my acne. But still I had to take Rectin, which was a very strong medication, actually twice, that completely dried my skin and was horrible for my gut, horrible for my mental state, and still didn't help me. And it's so interesting now that I know that it has nothing to do with that, and more of healing your gut, healing your subconscious, healing your mindset, and actually go the natural route versus, and I'm not saying there's good or bad, whatever works for you, but for someone who tried the medical kind of course and it didn't help me, I really recommend start with natural first. See if that works for you. And the one thing that I really remember after being on birth control since I was 16, and just one day deciding, it was not too long ago, by the way, it was, I believe, like 5 years ago. I just decided when I was 29 that I want to just stop taking birth controls. I just don't want to do it anymore. I remember I got out of very toxic relationship, long-term toxic relationship, and I just felt like this. I didn't even know that it was bad for me, right? I just want to like completely stop doing what I did. And I gotta tell you, it really tapped and helped me to tap into my feminine. I was more connected to my natural cycle versus me manipulating my body, manipulating my hormones to fit my schedule of, oh, I'm going on vacation. Let me kind of manipulate my cycle so I don't have my period then. Or, and it's artificial. It's artificial. And there is a price to pay for that, right? There is something that we don't know, we don't see. But when you connecting to your power, connecting to yourself, connecting to your feminine, it has to be your cycle. It has to be nature doing what it needs to do. And I really believe that universe, source, God, whatever you want to call it, really has the answer. And I don't need to manipulate what is already working well. And instead of fighting it, I choose to embrace it. And I did. And I have to tell you, something about it just really helped me to open up. My heart was more open up. I was more intentional with myself and who I letting in my energy field. Okay. So that is number one. Okay. And it takes like a good 3 months to get into your natural cycle. And it's a little rocky, not going to lie. But in the long term, you're going to be very grateful you did that. So after that, I start tracking my natural cycle. Now, I was trying to get pregnant as well. So this is something that if you're trying to get pregnant, it's always a good thing to be aware of the natural cycle. But more than that, it's a good thing to know where you are, in which phase you are, because as we're going to progress with this podcast, you're going to understand why and why it's so important to honor the phase you are in and how can you actually utilize this for your best results. Okay. So after you track, and you can use, by the way, an app, it could be, what's it called? Menstrual app, I believe, or ovulation app track. There's tons of them in your Apple store or Android store, but just look it up and find the one that works best for you, but just keep track of it. And if you don't want to use an app, just write it in your notes, and you're going to start seeing there's some kind of cycle. You're going to be aware of when you're going to get your period, when are you going to be ovulating. You're going to really feel and connect more to your cycle as you're more aware of it. And if you're not aware of it, you don't know about it, right? And after I start tracking my cycles, I really noticed where I felt not in my optimal energy. I was not really wanting to go out there and go networking and film some podcasts or content or do whatever like is more visible for my business or anything physical basically or socially related to be honest. And when I felt like not doing anything and just really honor that and not fight that, that is the most important thing that I want to really cross out here. It's not about fighting where you are in right now, in whichever phase you are in. It's about honoring the phase you are in and truly understand that it's natural. It is natural to feel low. It is natural to feel high. And instead of finding it and trying to be like a man who's always on because they have their own cycle, as I explained, they have their 24-hour cycle, we do not. Instead of fighting it and just trying to be this masculine version of yourself that is always go, 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 you are on a track to overburn yourself. And like I was, overtired and very sick chronically. I would get sick every single week. That was just putting me in bed for a good 3 days, every 2 weeks, every week, just depends. And it was brutal. And I don't want you to get to that point. So instead of fighting it, really honor that and see how it's actually working for you and understand that it's in under all these cycle, there is a belief that is stronger than anything. And we're going to talk about it more. So let's go over the 4 stages of your cycle, okay, as a woman. So the first day up to the 7th day, usually typically that's where we have a menstrual phase, right? That is where we start bleeding. And some women it's 3 days, some women it's 7 days. Some of them are done after a couple of days. It doesn't matter. But really, again, it's flexible. Every woman is different, but just know that the first week, that's where your energy typically is going to be lower. You're going to feel a little bit like you don't want to go out there. You want to be more in your little blanket, under your blanket, and just be cozy and not just go out there and kill the world, right? And that is okay. That is okay. And that's actually where I was last week. I was in the phase where I was just not wanting to go out there. And instead of finding it and instead of trying to say to myself, well, if I'm not going to go to this event, I'm going to disappoint people. People are expecting me to be there. Or I'm not going to get clients. I'm not going to close deals like that. I'm not going to attract the money that I want. This is my last chance. All these stories will tell ourselves that this is really like the time. And if we're not going to go there, that's it. Our opportunities are over and done. That is complete BS. Because I am understanding, if we talk the energetic language, which we understand that it has nothing to do with only what we do. It has to do with who we are first. And who we are first is, first of all, what we believe. And what we believe is how many times we think the same thought. That is what we actually truly believe. And when we believe the same thing over and over and over again, we gather enough evidence of that as being true. Guess what's happening? You form an identity. You form an identity of that kind of person. You cannot imagine not brushing your teeth in the morning. You cannot imagine not brushing your teeth at night. That's just part of who you are. You're not thinking about it. Same thing with attracting money. I cannot imagine being under a certain amount every single month. I cannot imagine being without money at all. It's just not part of my identity. So when we understand that my life and my money situation is not dependent on these events or these specific things that we think we need to do in order to gain more money and abundance, we start to let go. We start to lean in. We start to honor and understand that we are the power. We are the super attractors that attract the money. And it has nothing to do with that event or this meeting or that post you think you need to be seen and heard. Okay. So I just gave myself the permission to not go to these events, take a little step back, work from home, do emails, really kind of gentle with myself, making myself multiple times a day a tea, sitting, making me a bubble bath, and just enjoying a relaxed day and not pushing myself to do something that just really feels like vomiting, to be honest with you. Like, I just don't want to do it. And instead of forcing myself to do it, I really honor the fact that that's where I am and I'm okay with that. And I'm going to honor that. And guess what? I still, I still attracted money. I still attracted not even less than other days. It's truly was the same and it works like magic. But because I programmed my subconscious mind, because I gave myself enough evidence that it is possible, and I started gaining more momentum and started to really attract it and believe it every single day and every single month, that it's not absolute truth that only when I go out there and work really, really hard, that's only when I get the money or I get the clients or get the opportunities, all the things we tell ourselves. No, 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 no. The attraction comes from me being in my alignment, in my happiness, in my honoring myself and following my intuition, what feels good to me. And it feels good to me to stay home and not go out there. I'm going to honor that. And that's the beauty. Okay. Now, and the second phase is called the follicular phase. And this is the second week. It's from day 7 to 14th, where typically we also feel the amount of energy that is increasing, actually. And it's very interesting because our estrogen is actually going a little bit higher. So that's where you're going to feel like you're coming out of your cocoon. That's where you're going to feel like, oh, okay, here I am showing up to the world little by little. And that's where I actually typically put my meanings, put anything kind of like big, like if I perform or if I sing somewhere or if I do some kind of public appearance or networking events or podcasts or whatever that is a little bit more out there, that is a week to do so. And also for a ovulatory phase, that's day 14 to 21, which also you're going to feel high level of energy that also again increasing because of your estrogen that is increasing. So these are the 2 weeks that is gold for you, where you can really tap into your, what I would call more masculine energy, right? So going out there, pushing a little bit, right? Knocking on doors, showing up online, going to networking events, whatever kind of makes you be more on your out game, I would say. And then on day 22 to 28 day, that is where you're going to feel your estrogen levels are coming down. And that is where you prepare yourself to start your cycle again. And when you're going to start bleeding on day 1, right? So that is preparing you to that. And I got to tell you, it works like a clock. My husband knows when I'm going to get my period. It's almost like a joke. He's going to kill me for saying that, but he's like, okay, because I get a little emotional, a little snappy. I say something that I usually typically would not say. And he's like, okay, you're getting your period soon. Or sometimes he doesn't even say to me, and he writes it down, and he literally on the dot, he knows when I'm going to get my period. It's insane. So it really truly works, right? Like our cycles doesn't make us crazy. It's just our hormones are, they are active. They go up and down, that they're changing, and it's something to honor. So that's where, again, I'm going into my little cocoon. That's where I don't go out there and don't communicate with a lot of people, and really trying to own my energy and be very mindful of my energy and myself, and increasing self-care, increasing self-love and compassion, and kind of reevaluate. If I have something in my calendar that doesn't feel right in this particular time, I give myself the permission to reschedule, to let go, and give up on the story that if I'm not going to do that particular thing, the whole world collapse, my business is collapsing, my financial reality is not going to be what I think, and all the BS that we tell ourselves. So, as I said, really start tracking, writing it down, seeing the patterns that you particularly have. You're going to see this really interesting patterns and starting to be more connected to where you are in your phase, in your cycle. And also forget about if you're not even aware about your phase, really connect to your body, connect and tune to your womb, to your core of your being, and really ask yourself, what do I need today? How do I feel today? And honor that instead of pushing yourself and telling yourself, like, no, you should not feel this way. You should not feel lazy. You should not feel down. You should not feel like you don't want to go out there and do something. You should go out there and push, because if not, you're not going to be successful. And you need to act like the A type kind of man that is completely built different than you. That is not your superpower. Your superpower is actually be a creator, right? We create life with our womb. We create a reality within ourselves. We create it energetically first. That is why women, they're connected to higher source, I believe, a little bit more than men, although we all are. But women especially are spiritually more awakened. Their heart is more open. They're more connected to God. Their feminine energy is all about receiving. And if we're not honoring our natural way of being, we are basically going against nature. We are going to always feel like we climb this very steep hill that never ends, and we're never going to get the results. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to work hard. I don't want to hustle. I don't want to burn myself out to the ground. I don't want to sacrifice my health and my time with my family. It's just not something that I'm willing to do anymore. And I decided, instead of finding it, instead of trying to be the most hardworking person that I know, be the more smartest person that I know, and most connected person that I know with myself, and honor how I feel. And just by asking yourself every single day how I feel, how can I honor that today? How can I adjust my day to that? You're going to see how those little questions and the shift you're going to create, even if it's the smallest thing, it's going to make you, your little girl in you is going to be so thankful and feeling like she's enough, and she doesn't need to do all these things to be loved, appreciated, and abundant, right? And this is one of the biggest lessons that I learned. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate it. Please write a review. Please share with somebody that you think they need to hear about this. And if they didn't know about this, or you didn't know about this, and if you are rating and putting on your stories and tagging me at Effortlessly Abundant Life, you're going to get a free Effortlessly Abundant hypnosis that is going to help you to attract the abundance you want while you sleep. So with that, guys, I love you so, so much, and I'll see you